Oh. Hello, na 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 na, na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Hello. That just came to my head. I sang it. So there. Hi, welcome everybody. We got 4 on. Let's see who comes on today. I'm excited about this if nobody else is, and I know 11 is. um She's backstage, if you will. And if you want to pop in, I'm going to put the comments up so I can see. Yay, Debbie's here. David Rentera. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Valerie's on. Oh, yeah, the posse's in the house. Okay. So I popped this up on Friday because we had a coming together this week, as I have queued up already. I am One Divine. I changed my name legally to One. And when I was in Tucson last year for the gem show for a client that was launching a crystal live selling app and had to be down there on a gateway on a full moon, as you do, whatever. I was done. Many things happened that were magical, but on the way out, I had decided that I wanted to stop one more time at this place that had the best tamales I've ever had, and have them one more time before I left. And I am always in flow and in guidance, especially on that was like a big trip and a lot happened. And I met with quite a few others, tribe at the Gem and Jam Festival, and I'm leaving, right? Hi, Sharon. Yay, welcome. So I queued up. I'm going to tell the story with her on it, but I just wanted to, I'm going to share the circumstances that led this to happen. And I wanted to tell the story because it's an important story, regardless of what we're going to do for Equinox 144, which is really a huge calling for me personally and for our group as we've done things leading up to this time. And what I'm shown is coming ahead and what I'm being called to gather together. So I was like, when I came to this story and came to 11, sorry, I'm like so excited and over caffeinated right now. First of all, I got like, as soon as it happened, what happens with me is I'm kind of always tagging it and bagging it. I call it, I'm seeing signs, getting songs, getting guidance, intuition, clairsentience, feeling, spirit, talking, whatever. I, like many are integrated their parts and guides and kind of have a funky little system. I call mine like a Rube Goldberg system of how I talk to spirit. And I find it funny and really powerful. And when I come into, I know a vortex or when something's going to happen, because the signs, symbols, and synchronicity all of a sudden are just spinning and swirling around me and coming at me from every direction. And so I'm paying attention to like, what's going on? And this was one of those moments and days. I am going to just queue up a video before I introduce 11. And for those of you who know me, everybody on here right now does know me and knows what I'm into. I'm a media maker. I'm a mystic. I'm funky, come out, full on. I preach authenticity. So when you see our next guest and then hear the story of how I found her, how we came together, it's just all woven into all of that magnificence, and it's too good. So I'm gonna play a little video that I made. She doesn't even know. She posted a reel last night and I downloaded it and I plunked it into a little video with some stuff about her before I bring her on screen. I'm going to play it. I think it's kind of funny, like kind of funny. I'm watching her in the background. We're having some interference or something, and she's popping on and off. It's like she's coming in and out of dimensions right now. So hopefully she'll be able to stay on screen and have this conversation. But first, I'm going to cue up a little introduction of her.
And those who are watching this transformation will think that you have suddenly become magical. They will want to know what magic wand you have found. And you will say to them, I made peace with me. I stopped finding fault with me. I stopped finding fault with you. I stopped looking for reasons to feel bad, and I started looking for reasons to feel good. I stopped making the worst of things, and I started making the best of things. I stopped asking other people to be the reason for me feeling better, and I decided that I could be the reason for me feeling better. And in that decision, I found ultimate freedom.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, 11.
Yay!
Yay!
That's so fun. Thanks for making that.
I did it last night. I'm like, she's popping in and out again. Oh, I hope we can have this conversation.
Yeah, we've got interference, guys. Welcome to when 111 gets together. It's just like beep, bop, boop, beep. There's definitely, I appreciated your wisdom in saying there will definitely be forces that are trying to disrupt. So it just is what it is. That's me alone, let alone us two together.
Okay, let's get some frankincense, a candle, and some shaking. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. One thing I love about 11, she likes to have fun too.
Yes, only always. The Heyoka of the tribe, the jester.
I'm going to look in the comments. Hello, 111, says David. David will be flying with us and is already in our 144 container. And you will meet him and the others. Richard, what? Richard will be up ground crew in Mount Shasta.
Cool.
You will also meet him. And super excited. Super excited. We got a Deb. We're going to show Deb too. Deb is part of the mothership and one of our trustees, and she will be flying with us already in the container for the 144 that we're doing. For those of you who may be just jumping on for this story, just to cue it up, 11 is joining us here and there, coming in and out. She is joining us. We're just going to roll with this. Show must go on. Okay, we're going to get to the show and the magic stuff too after I tell the initial story of how this happened, and then we're going to hear more of 11's story. And but anyway, it's so good. I just lost track of what the heck I was saying. Okay, because we're going in and out, and it's all good. Okay, so 144. So I initially knew and was called to do a container for Equinox. When it first came in, I was thinking spring equinox, and then my dad died, and it was clear that it wasn't. Also, 11 has recently lost her father, and Valerie, who's on, lost hers within a week. It was all within the same time span too. And I then started planning for Equinox fall. And when I first did the video, this was for the on the ground retreat at Anna House Retreat in Mount Shasta, which is a very special place for me and sacred grounds. It is amazing. I have had really powerful mystical guidance and communication with Saint Anna, Yeshua's grandmother, as has the founder on a house. That's how we met, because it was like, wait, you talking to Anna? And so all of this is unfolded from that. That's a whole other show. Okay. So back to the program here. Then I was getting that we should call in, like we have done in the past with smaller containers, people from around the globe who would be dialing in and tuning in and with us in community in a private container from around the world, all tethering to Shasta for a big unified breathing, unified heave-ho, unified synchronization and amplification for our own personal transformation. Oh, that just came out rhyming. And so, and then beyond that, as we know, that echoes into the collective. And what's happening right now to be able to do that, to be proxy for unity, to be using sacred numbers and geometry and earth magic and practices where we really flow together, and how powerful that is. I've been witness to it in smaller containers, and it has transformed me every time. People who come into it were like, I didn't know what to expect. And I said, don't, because it just unfolds. And 11 was just talking to me about like kind of looking at the run of show. I'm like, don't miss the bottom part where it says this all can change, because we are in flow and we're ready to do this. And it's really cool. So without further ado, yeah, sorry, I'm just like looking at the comments. Miss you, Dad. I had a big missing my dad yesterday. And he came through. I ask him sometimes, just show me there, give me something. And I got in my car and Into the Mystic started playing by Van Morrison, which is a song with us. It's a thing. So they'll, Spirit will show you things that they know. It's just for you. Yes, I heard you. And I proceeded to drive and cry. So on to the symbols, signs, and synchronicity story. I'm going to bring up, I've made a little presentation. Okay. Oh, so good. So I set my map to the El Charro Cafe. There's a string of them in Tucson. And I had eaten at it a couple of times with my client. She found it. And I had these tamales that were freaking amazing. And I wanted them before I left, as I said. And I was already getting like a little slow simmering of something's up. And so when I do that, I just, okay, heads up, look sharp. And I put this in, and in case I'm slow on the uptake, it's at 7725 North Oracle Road, Suite 101. In case I'm slow on the uptake, they'll hit me over the head like with a hammer. The whole area was Oracle, like Oracle Gateway, Oracle Mall, Oracle. Okay, I get it. And so this is the map on Oracle Road. And there's a whole mall here, and there's a frontage road here. And here is the restaurant that I was speaking of. Well, I came in probably up over here, and by the time I got to the mall, everything was already popping so crazy. And I was with my group, right? At that time, we had a Telegram group with Mom before we got on our band channel. And we're just chatting there, and I'm leaving these little talk bubbles and stuff as it's happening. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, guys. And so I just was doing a play along with my team and being like, something's going on. Oh my God, this song's playing. That's whatever. I'm just giving the highlight reel, but there was so much. It was ridiculous. And I just noticed today too, that I don't know if you can see it. I can't, because it's kind of small and I'm kind of blind, but it's the wow. There was like wow lemonade right by. Yeah, it was wow. So as I'm coming in here, coming in the other direction, I see a red Xterra. So it's 8 minutes. That'll come in play later about today. 3 Trinity 111. Oh, there it is. Wow, wow, lemonade off of Oracle Road. So I come in somewhere up here and I turn the wrong direction and I'm leaving messages for my folks and I see this red Xterra coming. I heads up. I used to drive an Xterra. I also note that it has stickers all over it. That for me is game on. Okay. And especially with what everything was happening, I'm like, okay, I got to see the stickers, right? So I flip around. I'm behind it. It's a little ahead of me at the stop sign. And I wasn't able to see the stickers on it. I saw one with a pink pentagram. First of all, I'm like, okay, what are the rest? I know it's chock full of stuff for me. So then I turn around and I go a little further and I must have passed the restaurant again. And I lost the red Xterra. I'm like, okay, oh well, whatever. And then I flip a U and I come back to the restaurant. I pull in, and lo and behold, right in front of the front door is the Xterra. And it's not just an Xterra, Extreme X. And the X is a whole bunch of stuff, including Christos. Whole bunch of stuff packed into there for me initially anyway. I take out my camera and I go to video it, and this rainbow arc goes right over the license plate. And I have a little video of it too, where it's like boop, boop, boop. So in case, again, I'm slow on the uptake. So then here's a few of the stickers just to make sure that I'm paying attention. Excalibur, diamond, pink pentagram, built by a girl. All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. This I sent to 11 last night because it popped up as I was gathering the pictures. It popped up in the feed. Somebody was posting about today and what's happening with Venus and all of this stuff, right? The pink pentagram. That was the first thing. In a few hours, Venus in Anastasia direct on September 3rd, 4th in her current synodic cycle in the Leo metagoddess, weaving the third petal of the 5-petaled cosmic rose pentagram that she weaves in the heavenly skies in her 8 minutes to get there year cycle. And here we are today. So I walk in the restaurant, already know, okay, this ought to be good. It's afternoon, and I got a hit to go sit at the counter. There was another woman sitting at the counter eating lunch. I'm going to order lunch there. There weren't that many people in there. And the woman sitting at the counter was having a conversation with the bartender. Apparently, it was clear that they knew each other. She came in there regularly or whatever. And I ordered my tamales, and they were talking about the Gem and Jam festival, and they were talking about the fact that everything has been so packed, and they always forget that it's the Gem Festival or the Gem Show until all of a sudden everything's packed. And then they were saying something about the Gem and Jam Festival and wondering when it ended. And then so I pipe in and I'm like, oh, it just ended. I was a sponsor at the festival for a client of mine. That's why I'm here. And I was just getting your good tamales before I left. And so I began talking to her a little bit. First, I'm trying to remember the sequence of events, but she was having some issues as a single mother with an ex that I very much related to, younger woman. And I had been through some of the nightmare that she was going through. And for whatever reason, we just started talking about this, and I shared some things. And then there was one point where she was talking again to the bartender, and then she was saying something about her friend who she grew up with in Tucson, who had this major spiritual awakening, shaved her head, and named herself 11. And I'm like, wait, what? So she pulls up her Instagram, and then I pull it up on my Instagram, And I'm like, oh, oh. And I see followed by Adam Apollo, who's a dear soul brother of mine. And I'm like, of course, Adam Apollo follows, they're like siblings. Um, and so I just tagged it and bagged it and followed her. That's all I did at this point. I was kind of in shock. It was so rapid. It was so fast. And it was one of the biggest, like I've had it happen before, but this was like the universe was freaking bending over, doing handstands and warping to make sure that I understood that this was important, that led me here to this particular place on the way out of town. And so, as you could see, she does a lot of the same stuff I do. I'm already looking. I look at her feed and I was just like, okay, wow. So immediately after I got back, I was only in Shasta for a day or so, and I headed to Walla Walla just in time for my father's passing at 12:12 on Valentine's Day.
Mm.
And so that kind of put things back a little bit. And I know I'm not new to this game, that I would be guided. Here's a couple of the other signs after I left, in case I was also like, it was still popping. They were still like jumping up and down to show me, confirm. You always get confirms. I always teach that. Like if you get an idea or a thought or a message, there will be real world confirms on somebody's t-shirt, tattoo, sign, whatever. Like the double X's, keep it interesante. Oh my God, I just mangled that Spanish. Sorry, it's actually not that bad. The Trinity, the load one, this was the best. The fuel network. Okay. 299.9. That makes what? 3. Just about. The little ether. Welcome drivers. Start your engines. Right? So I think that was the last one. So I kind of hung back and I observed, and I was going through obviously the death. I was there for a couple of weeks helping my stepmom with my sister and all of that stuff. And then I think it was probably a month or two maybe before I even contacted you. And I just left her a message that occasionally I will leave just a channeled message for somebody who is clearly on the team. And I let come through whatever words are supposed to come through to let them know that I am with them, and they recognize, just like the signs show me, right? Certain words will come through sometimes that I don't almost ever use, but mean something to them. And I just trust that flow. So I just left her a quick message on Instagram and said, hey, I've been watching and I met a friend of yours, and this is what happened, and I'd love to talk. And she got back to me, and we did. And it was, I would say, you can pitch in here. It was so powerful, even though we were just doing voice messages back and forth. It was kind of like, that's how, when there's a powerful circuit match for me, I find that, you kind of start slow to assimilate your signals. And we both were sharing a lot, and I was bringing through a lot. And I can't speak for you, but I had to integrate too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some switches was flipped. So we kind of just carried on, and she has been going through her own grieving process and her own, like, we're all going through it, right? We are just awakening and peeling layers and all of this. And then what transpired over the last week or so, when she's coming back. I kind of like it, you popping in and out. It's very magical.
I don't know what is going on. It's just like
disappearing.
I'm just a walking glitch in the matrix, and because the internet is completely fine here. I think it's yeah, but we're gonna roll with it.
Yep. So my sister, Michelle Crisani, was initially going to be handling the 144 online aspect, because I've done the Egypt trip with Robert Grant and Resonance, and like Jamie was kind of the captain online. We all contribute, we all put in our pictures and live where we're at and whatever, but having somebody there who's manning the ship and making sure everything's good and answering questions and keeping the party going there online too. But and she was going to be on the ground, my sister, but now she is doing some other work in Eugene and with school, and was not ultimately able to do it. And then immediately it was clear to me to contact 11. We had already been chatting about this, and we had talked already about she was feeling called to Shasta again. She had had a pretty powerful experience, and I'll let you talk to that, and I'll stop the wrap up. But I'm just wanted to sort of like frame up what was happening. And so she is going to be joining us, if all is well in her family. There's some health issues that she's keeping monitor and holding space for, but that she will be on the ground with us. She is a media maker. She's going to be helping make the experience for everybody online really cool and awesome, and filled with imagery and video and everything that we're all contributing. So I'm so glad you're here. And I said, so what you doing for Equinox?
Yes. Well, and it was interesting because I thank you for giving that whole story. It's fun to hear from your perspective too, because obviously I was not a part of that experience. But when I got the message from you, I think, yeah, for everyone else kind of tuning in, that specific friend and I clearly have a very deep soul contract too, because I've known them. They changed my life path during my high school, but it's just been an interesting weave, as it always is, right? So it just is very interesting to me because they told me too, oh yeah, by the way, I met somebody that goes by One. And so as I've been at the altar and praying, I have been gifted throughout my life path incredible mentorship, incredible mentorship. I hang out with people a lot older than me typically. I just have the bookends of life are so important. And I had been praying and saying, Spirit, I really am calling forward the grandmothers or like the elder women. Some of whom you guys might even know. Richard Rudd has been a dear like mentor from afar. You know, Steve Nabel, another one of us for sure, from afar, right? So I've been working with, and others, of course, but I had been asking for some more, yeah, integrated mentorship that understand what this is and what's going on here with the walk-ins that are happening. And it's been deep has come through as well. So when Lauren said, yeah, I met somebody named One and she also has her head shaved, I was like, really? And so, you know, through the path, I'm sure One, you two I have not legally changed my name, but to give you guys a little context of why I go by 11, I think that's important to note. I was born with 11 toes. So I am 11. I am also in Western astrology in Aquarius, which is the 11th zodiac. I have my North Node in the 11th house, Dharma, or your life path. There's so many different synchronicities when it comes to just 11 in my life, let alone my own anatomy. So left foot.
There's 11 people on right now, just saying.
Yes! Epic. Yeah. So, and I've never seen the show Stranger Things. I get asked all the time. People are like, wait, my brother is a media master as well, and he loves the show. And he was like, Elle, not only the OA too, we love the OA, but kind of just don't want you to ever watch Stranger Things because it's just precious that you've never seen it, because I feel like they've been just kind of mapping your consciousness, because he's grown up with me. I've been practicing aerokinesis since I was like a kid with this huge windmill on our land. And I've just been I was raised by magicians, Christian magicians, and actually studiers of the gnosis of Christendom as well, which is really a gift, I would say, to be raised by a magi, a Merlin. And so I've been seated and initiated since I was a wee one to kind of really understand a lot more than the average being in this matrix we find ourselves in. So as you have been so carefully and showing this process of coding your own matrix, like what does it look like to code your own matrix? And I'm 36, and so I always feel like forever a student, only always. I'm starting to remember so much more and how we can actively see these signs. So thank you for making me feel less alone on this journey, one, because I see all these types of synchronicities too. And, oftentimes I think it's by design that as we're growing, right? I would say maybe as you're integrating into more of your life path, then maybe it goes away. But I'm still in this process of kind of going, am I just, or am I missed it? I was like, this is like, it's constant, consistently the case in my life. And so, for instance, just even this synchronicity of being able to be boots on the ground in Mount Shasta, I made my way here to California, just again on a whim, just trusting. And so here I am. So I'm not that far away. It'll be a drive over to that way. And I feel really grateful and honored to open up and see what Great Spirit is guiding. I've been knowing that there was a really large, what did I say earlier? Threshold. Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. And I wanted to speak to that a little bit, because what I'm being shown in sort of a mind picture metaphor is a speed bump, or that encasement of the amniotic fluid, right? That whole thing that it's got to get to a point where you break through it. Sometimes you've got to, maybe it's not a speed bump, but like you've got to accelerate a little bit with some oomph to get to the next level. And that's why a lot of times I'm guided to do things at this time, either just personally to take advantage of certain energetic alignments that make it a good time to, ooh. And I'll do things physically too, like I did last week with the Jai Dave on the full moon, blue moon, and then the power blew out right at the end. The whole property, just this property. And I know when to do those because he'll push you. It's good. And physically pushing past a threshold pushes you energetically past the threshold. And this time when we're aligned at perfect equal time, and that magic of that out of space time that happens in between that perfect alignment is so magical and powerful, an opportunity for us all to push past any threshold with the power of the group doing it together, right? In Mount Shasta and around the world, all connected.
Let's rock and roll.
I wanted to also talk about the 11 toe thing and just draw back to what I was really impressed and loved when I went, because it's pinned to her profile. If you can see her on Instagram. I am 11xx. And she got bullied for it. She got, and she frigging owned it.
Took a while.
Yo, I'm 11, whatever.
It took many years to get there. I would say it wasn't. I'm 36 now. I'm not kidding. It wasn't until I was so I was homeschooled. I'm so grateful for the parents that I chose. I chose to tell a really cool story. And so, from the genesis of my story, my mother wrote me a journal, and she wrote it like a storybook. So from the first chapter, she literally titled the chapter and said, "The Feeling." And then said, "Today, I'm going to go check. I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant. I can't wait to tell your daddy. Da-da." So I have a whole journal. And she was like, my parents were together for 10 years before having me. And, so she would always say, "You're really prepared for it." So when she had me and I came out, she's an artist. So she drew this little toe, exactly how it looks. She drew this little toe, or this little foot with my little toes. And she said, "Oh, and by the way, you came out with extra toes." And she goes, "Your daddy said that if you would have been raised on like a reservation or with the tribes, because we are indigenous, she was like, you would have been called two toes, right? Like, so my dad even was a deep studier. He knew, he would call me papoose, which means it's a baby, Indian baby, or indigenous rather, like meaning from the, anyway. So mi mamá es de Mexico, so my mother is Hispanic and Chinese, other things in that mix, and then my father's from Puerto Rico, but he's mostly French. So a little bit about my background, but all that to say, I was always raised with it being such a cool thing. My dad was like, I knew I was going to have you. Spirit told me I was going to have a hybrid child. He studied polydactyly. It was always affirmed in me from my family. But yet still what happens is, as a kid, is when I grew up looking at my mother's toes, my father's toes, my brother's, I was just like looking and I was like, so I'm different. And I've always a little phrase where I'm like, I don't fit. And this has kind of coded my matrix in a way, right? I didn't get this whole 11 thing until I was 33 years old. Of course, my Christ year took till 33 to kind of fully integrate. But I didn't understand reverse psychology. I didn't understand that. So in my homeschooled group of friends, never got bullied. Never, 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 until I went to a private high school or I went to a private, that's when the bullying really began. And it was mild. It's not like I was getting hurt or anything necessarily, with words, sure. But it kind of created this contraction in me and being like, okay, let me hide. I want to be hidden in plain sight. So I was around 15 years old, is that I really remember going, no, 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 I'm going to hide this. I will not do karate. I will not do yoga. I will not do like pool parties. I was constantly in this interesting, I'm being raised by magicians too, like illusionists specifically. So not just the kind of magic we'll be doing in Mount Shasta. They were doing different kinds of magic, like illusions, and then using it to share the gospel of Christ Yeshua in a way of travel that they knew how, and I blessed them on their journey. And now that's why I came through to help expand on that. So beautiful missions work all around the world in very needed countries. And but to round back, so it took quite a while to process the reverse psychology of being like, this is awesome, because that fragmented soul. So I would even be in relationship with people for a long time and they would have no idea that I had mirror neurons. So if you just cross your feet and you just like kind of cover, I'm not going to do show and tell for my toes, you guys, I just have to be in Mount Shasta, but I would just cross my feet and people had no idea. But I was constantly in this thought, I mean, how much space can that actually take up in your brain, like constantly wondering where people's eye gaze is. It was literally creating like a fracture in my brain. And finally I got married. I ended up getting married, and my ex-husband, I'm divorced, but for another story. So he was like, Elle, who would you be if you just weren't, my mate, by the way, so my birth name is Lynette, and so L is short for 11. Lynette, it's the same. I am the primordial sound of the name my family chose for me too. So I believe in this name will be always around. Lynette is around, some between both, and then there's 11. So it's been a really interesting thing to process and integrate. Maybe you guys have insight in that. I would love to have you guys chime in. As I've been navigating my own integration through this process. But I would refer to 11 as a walk-in. It came through very clearly that there was a new name, there was a head shave, and I had a whole ceremony, and I actually changed, and this is interesting, I changed from an all-white garb to all black, just to like kind of reverse the more, I was raised in the Christian church and I've been baptized and all of that, but it was more to integrate cosmic duality and to embrace that. And so it was a beautiful, beautiful initiation. And I had 40 of my friends around me in a mandala of roses. I had rose petals all around me. And I saw this in a dream, and then I manifested it into my reality. All of my closest friends took a lock of my hair. They all cut a piece, and then I shaved it. And then I went and baptized myself in the Pacific as we were holding roses, walking down to the ocean. And I feel really grateful to have had the support of my community to kind of help anchor it in. along with that I would feel called and compelled to share in my own studies of remembering. And I'll kind of wrap with this and kick it back to you, one. But another huge part of the process for me through 11 coming in was to get beyond the gender binary. Gender reveal party, y'all, to talk about how we're transcending the idea of that. Now, there's a lot to unpack there that we don't need to get into, but I just want to make note that in deeper studies of Two-Spirit and or just the new wave that we're moving into, the new world that we're moving into is going to look a lot more unique, and there's going to be creatures coming online. And so I'm in deep studies around that and how I guess best gets to show up as a rainbow bridge, as a bridge builder, and one that gets to be with those that are unseen. And so I feel very called and compelled to work with folks that are coming in with new codes that maybe, again, are obscure or, kind of the queer weird ones. And that's what queer means. So it's been a really interesting and delicate process through the psyche, but really deep learning, and grateful to remember alien, angel, same.
I just had a massive deja vu.
Cool. Yay.
Yeah.
We love
Thank
deja
you
vu.
for that. I also had a really powerful ceremony in Mount Shasta, as I was guided to on my birthday, exact middle of the year. My beautiful, powerful women priestess friends were with me, and Gary Cromp, who will be doing our ceremony on Sunday, did my ceremony using the Fibonacci sequence in sound, and then played the Archangel Michael harp over my head after it was shaved and baptized in a bowl. My sisters, my friends, all took turns doing the shaving. I kept mine. I didn't know if I would. Initially, I didn't know what my head would look like if I could pull it off. And I had never had dark hair before. I was born a towhead, totally white, just like my kid. Declan, my daughter, was a little more blonde, but really light blonde, both kids. And mine was. And then, as high school, you start getting a little darker or whatever. And then I start coloring. And then I was platinum for a long time. I put chemicals on my head and colored my hair for 40 years. And I am also, this is the island of misfit toys. We're all getting together, right? I love that. So this one, I was thinking that this morning, and this picture coming up from my son's alt school in Walla Walla. They had a huge float, and they did their alternative high school, which was the Island of Misfit Toys. They did a float, and I have a picture of that, and I wanted to use it in some of our stuff because that's what it feels like. All the weirdos, all the people who maybe, people didn't understand what they were talking about or whatever, or they're funky whatever way, that we are coming together and we're finding each other and we're breaking the matrix. We're breaking roles that are defined by society and never worked for us. But I am, I was late in life discovering that I'm on the spectrum. Feminine, female autism looks very different often than male autism, and ADHD and OCD and all of these things that a lot of us neurodivergents are wired differently. Also, I think matrix breaking. But one of the effects of that comorbid conditions was a condition in OCD called trichotillomania, where I would pull my hair. And I pulled my hair for 40 years. It's usually onsets during adolescence. It did for me. And you'll sometimes see me still pulling at my eyelashes, the only hair on my head. And I'm not ashamed about it. I speak out about it. And I didn't, like people will be like, oh, it's so cute how you pull your hair. And I always joke like, yeah, I can't stop, And when I was here where I am right now on the couch where it happened in Santa Fe last year, for 2 months. And I had a mystical experience, a healing experience of lineage healing, family healing. And the grandmothers, I call them the grandmothers, came in and surrounded me and held me through that process. And then, I'm getting energy on that, feeling to share this because it was so powerful and transformative. And when you said walk in, that's exactly how I describe it. When I said the sacred yes to what they were saying about changing my name and shaving my head, I was like, really? Like it pushed all my buttons. Like my mother, Mary, who was bipolar diagnosed, that's a whole other freaking show, what these labels are or what that really looks like, but suffered very greatly. And I was very embarrassed as a child. She would shave her head. She would have stuff going on in her scalp. And then with eczema and stuff like that. But like they called her Crazy Mary, and I was embarrassed, and I wanted to show that I was sane and normal for a long time, you know, to prove that I was not crazy like my mother. And a lot of the crazy things that my mother spoke were things like processed food is going to kill you. The government is spending most of our money on war. Like crazy, crazy things. Okay. Woman who was jailed, shocked, beaten, put in restraints for some of her knowing and for her shamanistic, mystic, energetic explosions where she wasn't taught to manage her energy, or a society that didn't accept those who were different and maybe they couldn't play regular roles in regular jobs, right? So now, as anybody knows me, I've embraced it fully. I give no Fs if anybody calls me crazy. That ship has sailed. And I do know how to regulate my energy. And one of the gifts that I was given and the miracles that I was given, and I didn't know why I was going to go on this rant, but I'm gonna. When I shaved my head, I've always had, it's, the sensory issues, right? People have tags and, like if one sock is thicker than the other, uh, that's me. But hair on my head has always like bothered me. Like if it started growing, I kept it very short. It would start growing down my neck and I'm like, ugh, and I'd pull at it. And it was very satisfying to do that. It was a stim. It's an autistic stim, and but my friend at the ceremony asked me, are you gonna be like phantom limb pulling after? I'm like, I don't know. And then as soon as it was off, I was like, I had no compulsion to pull. I was free. I was like, oh my God, I don't know, whatever past lifetime, I was bald. Okay. And I felt more like myself than I have ever felt in my life. And even at first it was very like I would wear more scarves than I do now. I was very, I also needed to be in my own place as I integrated. And the death of Robin was real. Like the whole July after was so powerful. She's of course still in here, just like you're still in there, right? But it was a walk in, as I say, of like all my other parts.
Yeah.
It was shown that Robin had done a good job, kid, but the rest of her was going to come in for this next leg of the race, right? Reinforcements. And a lot of people are experiencing that at this time. It's a part of yourself. It's not a separate soul, but pieces of us coming in for the tournament time. And I wanted to share the message that came through from the grandmothers too. I mean, it was about so many things of letting go. Really, I spoke. I don't care what people think. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what I look like. I'm not attached to it. Oh, really? Yeah. How about shave it? How about go public? How about do it? I'm like, okay. And I did it and I was free. And then I got this message from the grandmothers. And it was like, felt like a little kid getting a message from the grandmother. And it was like, you see, you always think that you have to sacrifice. You always think that you've got to give it up for the family or for everybody else. And this was a gift. And I was free. And it was for me. So I thought that was just like, I just started weeping when I received it because it was truth. And I was free. And it feels good to me. So I'm rolling with it. I just wanted to be a frequency. I didn't want to be a hairdo. I didn't want to be whatever, a blank slate. Because today I might be all pretty and showy. Tomorrow I might be leather and boots. And I see 11 also holds that. And I've seen her different facets. And I'm so grateful that the universe did bend and warp to bring us together. And I can't even wait. Oh my gosh, everybody, the family that's coming together. I can't wait for the people that you will meet. I can't wait for the people that I will meet, either online or on the ground. I'm going to just roll the little 1-minute sizzler if anybody hadn't seen what it's about. 11's also a media maker and an artist. And we both imbue everything that we do, our clothing that day, our whatever, our media, with signs and symbols and colors and frequency to call in our tribe, to call in our family, to express whatever mood or emotion that we're trying to do at that time. Yeah. So I did that with this video, and I'm like, it was working. The juice was working on me as I was doing the original video for the retreat. And then for the 144, I was just seeing how big this is and how powerful it's going to be. And it's just, anyway, you have anything else to say before I'll just roll the little thing so people that can see what we're doing?
No, you captain the ship.
Okay, ma'am. She's going to be the young one on this. Like our ground crew is OGs. And I'm so glad. It's all over though. I mean, it's men and women and young and old, and it is so good. Okay. All right. I'm going to play the little 144 video. Here we go. Okay. Do you want to ride on this unicorn van? No time to explain. Get in. I am 11xx on Instagram if you want to follow along. I am, that was the other thing too. I am one divine. We both have the I am.
I
It's true. We are. And what else was I going to say? Last little announcements. Friday, I'm going to be getting on She Speaks with Georgina Beaumont. So you're going to want to see that one too. We have not spoken on camera together or gotten together since 2017. And so much has happened. So that's going to be, tune in if you want to see that. The URL was just posted, and I'm putting it in the comments in all the different places where this is airing. If you want to jump in, I was guided specifically 72, 144 at 72. I thought it was 72, 144. This helps us to be able to do this work, to do this container. We are a nonprofit private membership association. Shout out to Canva Pro, who gives nonprofits like us free pro account with team that help me make a lot of this stuff. And I'm teaching our members so that we can all be empowered and get our message out there. And any final words?
Looking forward to it. It's been a little while since Mount Shasta and I have met, and there's lots of synchronicities for me out there too. So I look forward to meeting all of you guys, whether virtually or in person. Thank you for receiving my story, and there's more to come. It's like this, the infinity.
Oh, I like it.
Amazing. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today. Sending so much love. All right. And the podcast.